Good evening! Good evening and welcome to our Dungeons & Dragons campaign, The Legends of Valcia. I am Llamachomp. I will be playing Harbeck Iron Fist, the mighty Dwarven monk who is more and more forgetting how to be a monk as he pursues creating delicious beverages. Right above me is Eversor.
Hi, I'm Eversor. I am Llamachomp's younger brother, and I will be playing Brieg, the gnome rogue with considerable mental issues.
Above him is a new picture of Babs.
Hello! It still doesn't move, though. Don't get too excited.
Do you want to introduce your character just a little?
Oh, sure. We'll be playing Din. I was raised by wolves.
Across at the bottom of the screen is Useless.
Who plays Rogar, who is not impressed by your tiny gods.
Might have turned the wrong way.
Right above him is Flick.
I'll be playing Tabarin, the human magic user who doesn't really know where he's from. Grew up on the streets learning all sorts kind of magic.
And last but certainly not least, in the top right corner, Lolash.
Who is horribly unwell and will be playing all of the things trying to kill the party. Let's probably not root for me because I'm the bad guy in this situation. Hi chat, how you doing?
And we need to do a quick recap to bring new viewers up to date with our current status before we dive into the story. Do we have a volunteer to do the recap tonight?
Like a full campaign abbreviated recap? Is that what you're looking for?
I think you follow like a logarithmic plot for detail as you get up to the current moment.
Okay. Logarithmic. Got it. Yeah, I'll do that. This...
Don't confuse your asymptotes with a hole in the graft.
Math jokes! They run in the family. So this wonderful party all met on a ship to the capital of the human kingdom, the capital city of Vier. We all met on the ship, and then the ship sank. Horrible things happened, and we ended up washed up on a beach in Vier. From there, we went and investigated a lead that led us to a smuggler's cave that turned out to be an ancient shrine that left us very confused, but with some documents that we thought might clear up that confusion. The documents were in a language that we could not read, so we spent some time looking for someone to translate those documents. During that time, while we were looking for a translator, some personal things happened to our characters. For example, Harbeck was contacted by a guild of artificers. We met one of the Dragonborn, Rogar. Yeah, there we go. We met one of Rogar's friends who was a cleric and murdered some followers of the evil goddess Sarath, etc. We finally located a translator in a city, a little town north of Vier. The town was called Tarnesh, something?
Kanesh.
Kanesh. I was moderately close. So an elder in Kanesh was supposed to be able to translate our documents. When we arrived in Kanesh, we could not find the elder, and the whole town seemed a little weird. We later discovered that there were some people in the town there also looking for the elder, and they were suspicious of our motives when we first arrived. Those people included the brewmaster and the innkeeper and the stable boy, among others. Eventually we contacted them, and they seemed friendly, and they asked us to help them. We went to talk to the other town elder, who was in a suspicious position to benefit from Elder Varen. Yeah, Elder Varen's disappearance. we went into the town hall, and under the town hall we found some old ruins of a mausoleum of some sort, and something that we thought was the other elder, who raised a bunch of undead to fight us, and that was unpleasant. After defeating the undead and the necromancer that was raising them, we brought him out to be questioned, both by us and by the other agents in the town, the innkeeper being the principal among them, only to discover that he was actually long dead and being possessed by some malignant spirit. At that point, the innkeeper said that they would continue their search for Elder Varen, and we didn't need to concern ourselves with it, but we could follow up a lead. Our shipwrecked ship has washed up somewhere, and we may be able to find some hints on it. We also asked her to translate some of her documents, because it turns out that she did in fact speak Infernal or Celestial or whatever it was that we needed her to speak, and she looked at them and said, I'll be keeping these, and then we stopped giving her things because she was bad at translating. Or she was really good at translating, but really bad at sharing the information that she gleaned from her translations.
We
Very
don't
unhappy
know if
with
she
her,
could read them at
but I
all.
didn't
She just
wanna
took
die.
them.
That's true. At that point, they said, well, before you head off to explore the shipwreck, you should stick around for a couple days. There's going to be a festival. And we said, no, that sounds cool. People in our party like to get drunk. So we stuck around for the festival, and then while we were enjoying that festival, we were attacked by elves. Elves that are undoubtedly, and actually we confirmed it during Harbeck's conversation with them, looking for Brieg, who has yet to share exactly why these elves are after him, but he knows that they are after him. The elves are from the mighty northern nation of elves. They're very militaristic, and you just don't mess with them. They're scary. So we ran away back to Vier, hoping that the big town would help dissuade their pursuit.
Most of us ran away.
Yeah. We had some difficulty riding horses, which we attempted to do bareback because we were, running away really quickly and didn't have time to saddle our horses. Turns out dwarves are bad at horses. They're really bad at horses without saddles.
And Harbeck is particularly bad at evaluating whether we have time to put saddles on. Because he was the one that panicked and got us out there bareback, and then he's the one that couldn't stay on the horse.
So Harbeck, after failing to stay on his horse, we were not putting enough distance between ourselves and the elves, and Harbeck nobly volunteered to stay behind and try to hide while the rest of the group rode the horses onto Vier. The intention being that he would come and find us later, hoping that the elves would follow the larger group and not realize that he had slunk off. That did not work so good. The elves found him and questioned him, and he admitted to knowing the gnome, but admitted to little else. And then headed on to Vier to hopefully one day meet up with the group, but he assumed that the elves were still following him, so he went to a different inn and is now hiding out, trying to figure out how to shake his tails before he comes back to meet us. The end.
The end. I think that pretty much covers everything that's happened in the story so far.
Or perhaps
Now,
I would like to see Harbeck shake his tail.
It's very jiggly.
not his tail feather. The people tailing him.
Right.
Now, so a quick word of warning: I'm not well, so I'm probably going to sound like bollocks on the stream. I do apologize in advance. Let's start it off with Harbeck. It's been overnight. So we determined that you'd gotten back, everybody had sort of stayed in their respective inns, sort of thinking and working out what was going on, waiting for Harbeck if you were the rest of the group. But we'll start with Harbeck over in the other inn. You've been waiting and thinking, Harbeck, for the better part of an afternoon and evening, and it's now the next morning. What are you going to do? What's your thought process been during that time?
All right, so Harbeck's thought process is he's trying to just compute the likelihood that these elves are going to risk infiltrating the city. He's pretty sure they're not just going to, like, march through the gates and loudly announce that they're searching the city now. But he's just trying to evaluate the risk that they would infiltrate and try to sneakily follow him. I don't know. Well, how much does Harbeck know about the elves' style? Are they... Like, they probably sneak through forests really well. Are they also going to risk sneaking through a major metropolitan capital and sparking an incident?
Dwarves have, in the setting, dwarves have, as dwarves typically do, a natural mistrust of elves.
Sure.
But there's also a lot of history there, and being someone who used to follow a very aesthetic life, you know a little bit about what's been going on in the past. They're very mysterious as to their, basically their desires and why they do things. But they do, they're also incredibly diplomatic.
Okay.
They haven't been at war in recorded history. They're the most warlike, most militarized society in Valcia, but they haven't been to war once. They could easily wipe out all of the other kingdoms combined if they marched with their full force, but they haven't. And there is no real justification other than raw diplomacy for,
Alright, so
for
Harbeck's fear then is that they might, through diplomatic channels, hire someone to follow him to Brieg. Like, maybe they have contacts in the city that they're friendly with, and so he's still very nervous. He's still very protective of Brieg, and does not want to lead them to him. So he's going to try to reach out to the Artificers Guild, and he doesn't have a lot of, doesn't have a lot of knowledge about where they are, how they operate, but he's going to go down to the one address he knows about that wasn't actually a door. And the goal is to get a message to Tabarin so that he can disguise himself before traveling to the inn. And I don't know how well that's going to work, but the only contact I have in town outside of the innkeeper that I can't go to is the Artificers Guild.
And the only thing that you know of as far as the Artificers Guild is concerned is that big metal door.
Is, yeah, a blank wall with a hole in it. Or didn't it turn out to just not be a door at all once I put the thing in? Yeah. So we're going to try walking around there and acting like I might need some help and hope that something comes and finds me back at my room.
Okay. All right, so
at least that's like in the first, spend the afternoon resting and recuperating, spend the evening trying this out, and then when I wake up in the morning, I might need to try something else.
Okay. So you've done that then. I'll just say you wandered down there. Can you roll a stealth check for me, please, to see how well you managed to sort of sneak around?
Yeah, I think I will roll a stealth check. Let me put that screen up so people can see the dice. I don't think that I'm being particularly sneaky. Like, if I am being tailed, I need to act casual and, this is my home inn, and, I don't actually know where Brieg is, and it's fine, and so... I mean, probably a little bit of stealth around the Artificers Guild door is warranted. But in general, general motions throughout the city, I might just be, maybe even a deception would be a better roll, because I'm trying to set a different pattern of habits if someone is watching me.
Okay, alright. So you wander around and you head to where the metal door was, and you sort of loiter around looking needy, and then head back to the inn and get some rest. Mm-hmm. The next morning, as you walk downstairs to collect your breakfast and your first delicious mug of ale, no doubt, you see a gnome sitting at a table. Short fellow, wearing a a vest with pockets all over it. And there's a backpack underneath the table that seems to have all sorts of unusual things jutting out of it. And as you walk down the stairs, he sort of nods in your general direction and sort of looks down at the chair in front of him as if to beckon you over
I will
to
happily
join him for breakfast.
join him for breakfast.
Okay. You sit down at the table then, and there's, like I said, he's a probably middle-aged gnome, likely the same sort of age as you. Gnomes are fairly long-lived as well. He's starting to grey a little bit, and he has quite the glorious beard for a gnome. And after you sit down, he says, "You came looking for us. What do you want?"
I hate to impose, but I'm in a bit of a bind, and was hoping that you could get a message to a friend of mine.
Why don't you take the message yourself?
Well, the reason I need the friend is I need a disguise. I'm worried I'm being followed. I hope I didn't put you in any danger.
Couldn't put me in danger.
I thought that might be the case.
Okay, so you want me to get a message to your friend?
Aye.
Alright. You know what? There might be something you can do for me.
Great.
You know the ship that you came in on?
I do.
What was the Mary Eileen? There was a shipment on that ship. Something that's pretty critical to my work. I'd like you to reacquire it for me, please.
Okay. I may need to get some resources from you for the job. I think that ship's under quite a bit of water at this point, and I don't breathe it very well.
The ship's not underwater.
How? Wait. I was underwater, and I was on the ship.
You are.
Okay, well, I much prefer a ship that's not underwater. Do explain.
I'd rather not. You'll find some yellow crystals in the hold of the ship. Collect them carefully. Don't touch them. Bring them back here.
Don't touch them. Is gloves okay?
Yeah, gloves is fine.
Great.
No skin contact.
Sure.
Don't do it. Like ever.
Understood.
Good. He reaches into his pack and he pulls out a small mechanical spider. He hastily scrawls something onto a note, and focuses intently on the spider for a little while. Roll a perception check for me.
13.
13. You notice that the band on his wrist has started vibrating. Ever so slightly while he holds the spider. Okay. And after a brief moment, maybe 5 seconds, the spider jumps down off his thing, goes invisible, and you hear the very familiar by now tink, 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 tink of tiny metallic legs running out the door.
I
It's been
appreciate
handled.
you doing me this favor.
It's not a favor if you pay for it.
Well, I appreciate your trust to believe I'll pay for it. I am very thankful for the help. I know I haven't proven myself to you and yours.
He gets down off his chair, reaches up under the table, grabs a hunk of ham off your breakfast plate, takes a huge bite out of it, wanders out the door. He looks over his shoulder and he says, "Remember, don't touch the crystals."
I shan't.
And he leaves. So it's the next morning in the inn, and Harbeck has not shown up. Everybody else. What are you doing?
Brieg, in the morning, the first person down the stairs finds Brieg asleep at a table. He tried to wait for Harbeck. So he's like in a corner booth, kind of hiding like he does, but just passed out on the table because he was exhausted. trying to wait for Harbeck.
Poor
I'm gonna eat
Harbeck.
breakfast. And now you're trying to
Tavern
break
is-
to eat breakfast.
Tabern is deep in thought as he's processing what exactly has happened over the last 2 weeks. The vision that he had, the experiences that he's having, and just this really just completely strange, new, kind of freaky life change that seems to be happening. So he's trying to sort through those sorts of emotions and motivations while still worrying about this new party member that we now have no idea where he's at.
Okay. As the general populace start to come into the inn, Brig probably is stirred fairly quickly. He's a reasonably light sleeper, even
Harbeck?
after passing out on a table.
Harbeck?
He's not here yet. Do you want some eggs?
No.
Perhaps
Maybe
I
you should
should
eat.
go look for him. I can disguise myself and
Do you think he made it back to the city? If he made it back, wouldn't he have come here?
I'm not sure that he would have come back here if they're still following him.
Didn't work. We got him killed.
I don't
Nah,
think he's dead.
he probably got himself killed.
Don't laugh. She thinks you're dead.
What is empathy? What is empathy? Can I get a perception check from everybody in the inn, please?
Yeah. At that, at Din's remark, it kind of makes Tabarin laugh a little bit as well. Puts him in almost a joking mood. Or maybe a joking enough mood that he casts Alter Self on himself briefly to... No, he's not going to do that. He thought about it. Looking like Harbeck. He's still alive. He decided against it last second.
Eversaw, you're actually paying attention. What's going on? An actual perception check.
He's waiting for every sound of dwarven footsteps outside the door.
Well, he doesn't hear dwarven footsteps, but both him and Rogar hear a familiar sound. Tink, 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 tink. You've heard this sound before. Harbeck said it was a little mechanical spider, but Harbeck's not around anymore. And, yeah. But you couldn't see the spider, remember?
Mm-hmm.
He just said there was a little metallic spider, and he was super fascinated by it. Shortly after hearing the noise, however, Tabarin feels something jump up onto his leg.
Oh. That's not normal.
And when he looks down, he sees a small, rolled up piece of paper sitting on his leg.
Open
and
it
nothing
up.
else. Okay.
Is it from Harbeck?
I don't know. Let me read it.
The paper says, "Your friend needs help, you'll find him here," and gives you an address of another inn.
Greg, he's alive. He needs my help. You should stay here. I'll bring him back.
Right.
So Tabarin is going to...
Is he hurt?
I think he's fine. I think he's just nervous about coming to us. He knows where we're at. At that, Tabarin says, I'll bring him back, but I need to go quick. He's going to head upstairs and come down 30 seconds later. Only I've cast Alter Self. And I am going to look like Slightly shorter, definitely heavier, more muscly, bearded human. Just more common folk, and head out the door to that location.
Okay. Harvick's been sitting there, eating what is left of his breakfast after the gnome taxed it.
Possibly ordering a second breakfast because
Probably.
you got to make up for a gnome tax. You can't miss calories after such an event.
This is very, very true.
I
Also,
haven't
you did
taken my
manage to
bites
rest.
of ham.
You did manage to rest enough to drop one of your levels of exhaustion
Yeah,
as
so
well.
only one exhaustion level today.
Only one exhaustion level today. And you're sort of paying close attention to the door and what's going on, being a little bit skittish, I imagine. You see a short, stocky, bearded man walk through the door.
When I see Harbeck, I act as if I know him. I've been looking for him, not loud per se, but definitely head over to him and sit down and be like, Harbeck, good buddy, I've been waiting for you to come back in town. We've got some brewing and recipes I wanted to follow up with you and maybe trade a bit of information.
Is that you? You're really good. What? You're really good.
Oh, I learned from you. You're the one that taught me how to brew in the first place.
I did teach you to brew, I think. I think that you and my friend can leave together, but I should stay here. Will you join me up in my room? I'll show you. I'll introduce you to my friend.
Sounds great.
Subtlety is not Harvick's strong point.
He is not trained in deception.
I think this much is obvious. So the two of you head up into Harvick's room, a meager room compared to the room he's got at the other end.
I pull out my disguise kit.
So while he's doing disguise kit things, I'll tell him about my whole encounter with the elves and why I'm worried they're following me and why I'm worried about Brieg.
Got it. And I don't think there's anything else that's going to have a lasting effect on helping to disguise you other than me getting creative and using my disguise kit. So here we go.
All right.
Let's make this happen. And that'll do.
Okay.
He's an elven
Alright.
woman. Slender.
I am the hoop skirt under an elven woman built of disguise kit.
I didn't know I brought a corset along.
So Harvick is very well disguised. You've managed to make him look like a dwarven lady. So he now has larger breasts than he did as Harvick.
If that's even possible.
I was going to say, which is an achievement, but he's definitely. You take some time telling him he needs to sway when he walks and be a little bit less sure-footed, and basically giving him a really brief rundown on how to act like a lady. And after sort of about an hour's worth of time with the disguise kit and practice, it's ready to go.
I'm going to ask Harbeck, do you think I should change my disguise as we head back out?
You're the expert. Would anyone recognize you?
Well, are there people watching? Were there people downstairs watching?
I don't know. I suspect the elves haven't come into the town, but I don't know if they've hired someone here to follow me to Brieg. I'm just a little bit paranoid. They hit me with their sword. It wasn't pleasant. It's got a welt.
I am going to go ahead and change my disguise as we come back down. someone that's a little bit more complimentary to Harbeck, in that it wouldn't seem out of place that we were together.
Okay. All right. No worries at all. So you leave, walking out the front, trying not to be noticed too much. Harbeck, can I get a performance roll from you as you stroll through town, please?
You bet. I do a decent dwarven woman. 17.
You do a decent dwarven woman. Walking through town, you don't notice anybody following you or anything like that. You do have to brush off a rather amorous male dwarf who seems to think you're quite a gem.
As soon as we get past him, I'll confidentially whisper to Tabarin, "This bit of walking made me very popular at the monastery."
And after a short period of time, you manage to cross the short amount of distance between this inn and the other inn, and you find yourself at the front door.
As we
those-
are about to step in, I turned to Harbeck and I said, "You know this change was permanent, right?" Throw a little.
Okay. I mean,
Worth it.
was it? I thought. Okay.
Don't worry,
I guess
you'll be good.
I'll get comfortable.
So those in the inn, Din, Rogar, Brieg, who've sort of been waiting around for an hour and waiting for the return of Harbeck, the door to the inn swings open and you see a portly young dwarven lass and a reasonably short dwarven-looking human with quite the beer gut walk into the room, side by side.
Hi everyone. It's so good to see you. Oh, I don't have to do the voice. They can know who I am, right?
Harbeck!
Brig, come here.
Brig just runs over and like jumps up and gives Harbeck a big old like octopus hug. Arms and legs both involved in this hug.
Hi, Brig. I missed you.
He's
Are you all
afraid I
right?
got
Did you get to
killed.
town safely? I mean, you're here, but was everything okay?
Yes, I'm fine. How are you? Are you all right?
Well, I guess I'm a woman now, but other than that, I met the elves. They're not pleasant people. I see why you ran from them.
Your breasts feel a lot like sandbags.
Well, thank you. I think I
it
don't know
is a
how you know
sandbag.
that ancient dwarven compliment, but thank you.
Okay. So the party is all together in the inn.
Don't laugh at your own jokes. It's uncouth. Come on.
All right, everybody's in the inn. It takes a little bit of time, but Harbeck, you are restored to your former masculine self.
Oh, you tricked me. Tabarin, that's why I knew that you could do a good job. You'd sell anyone any concept.
Perhaps now would be a good time to explain why the elves.
I think that's probably a good time.
We could retire to somewhere more private.
I've got some
It's,
brewing to catch up on. Why don't we have this conversation in the brewery?
That was my thoughts exactly.
Okay, so the group heads down into the brewery, I imagine. It's quite packed down there for 5 people and a wolf, but you do manage to squeeze in there and sort of stand around and you're able to chat. So, what needs to be said?
I'm sure you've noticed, but I'm not exactly with it all the time. There are moments that I feel like, not like I remember my own life, but almost like I remember it like someone told me about it. I don't remember anything before I woke up in the asylum. Do any of you... Do you know anything about... Terran?
Terran? I don't think
The
so.
Elven Kingdom.
Oh. I know that we met... I had a run-in with some of their swords. I think.
Terran is
I've got the imprint. We could probably forge one based on this. We could make a facsimile. Got the imprint on my backside.
Terran is it's a city of the elves, renowned for its ability to treat and correct mental deviants. There's an asylum there. They don't only treat, though, they also contain. I don't remember anything about my life before I woke up there. I don't know why I was there, but I've had these moments, like I said, where I don't remember. I feel like my mind is not always my own.
It's not. We've met the man who your mind is sometimes.
Yes,
Lord
well,
Silver Star.
yes. Well,
Perhaps I should just listen. I'm sorry.
it's all right. I was there in the asylum for a long time. I don't actually know how long. Years, I think. Most of that time, Binks was my only company. Eventually, an opportunity presented itself and I escaped. That was years ago now, and I've been on the run since. The elves don't let people escape. That's not something that happens. I don't know much about my condition or where it came from, but they can't let me escape. They
If
can't.
they let you escape, isn't that just leaving? If you have to escape, they didn't let you, right?
Right, they can't let me stay escaped, I suppose is
Oh.
what I should say. So there it is. I'm mad. I have no childhood. And the elves need to capture me to re-establish their superiority and perfect record.
So it's a pride thing for them then, not a safety one.
As far as I know.
You seemed
Right.
unnaturally important to the innkeeper.
Well,
Uh,
I
in-
started to have thoughts about that, and the truth is I don't know why it is. But the way she looked at me did make me think. I started having visions of Celestia, and it feels like home. Like I might be some sort of reincarnated angel or something.
Well, that's fantastic.
I don't know who or what I am. It's not really fantastic.
Well, I know who you are. You're Brieg, and I know what you are. You're my friend.
And it is kind of fantastic because you get to be whatever you want.
Brieg cries little gnomish tears.
So,
I almost cry little human tears.
so we were gonna head to the shipwreck. That was where our next clue was. I also owe an important man a favour there. So, I'd like to move on
How did
that
you-
location pretty soon.
Is it one of the elves?
No, it's a gnome. He's the one that got Tabarin my message so I could get here safely without leading the elves to our doorstep.
Wait, we own this inn now?
What? No,
I don't think so.
It's not our doorstep, literally, but it's the doorstep that we live behind, so it's ours in that sense. It takes a moment sometimes to figure out why you had a question, Din, but I think I got that one pretty square on.
I mean, I left a lot of very useful things here
Does,
the last time, I think.
does anyone else feel
Or
like
maybe we
Din
don't.
is rubbing off on them sometimes?
That's not a bad thing.
Instead of helping her become more civilized, we're just all becoming slightly less.
We could use living with a sense of simplicity and freedom like Din. I think there's a lot to learn from her.
And wolves. Wolves are very useful.
Aye.
So about the shipwreck, I got the impression, what with waking up with the ear in my pocket and the way the captain looked at me, that I may have been in some way responsible. It seems like a decent place to go looking for clues.
I see no reason to wait any longer, in case elves are still trying to find the trail again. We might as well get out of here quick.
Now, do we know where it is? I've got reason to believe it's no longer at the bottom of the ocean, but that... Did we get a better lead before we left town so hurriedly?
I
Didn't
thought
they
the
give us a
innkeeper lady
map?
told us where it was.
A map with some island that didn't exist that we knew of?
Right,
The
that's
innkeeper. Yeah, the innkeeper explained to you that the ship could be found on an island in the middle of the bay, quite some distance from where it apparently sunk. But apparently it's beached there.
How do we get there?
Need to,
Harbeck's not a very good swimmer.
I
need
suppose we
to
find a boat.
get a boat.
He's a very good sinker.
Aye.
But perhaps we could just tow him with the magic rope.
If the magic rope would allow me to breathe underwater, I could just walk there.
And then we could just hold on to the other end of it, and you could take us all. That's a good idea. I'll get the magic rope.
The rope isn't magic. That was a joke. You don't
That's
do those
okay. I
often.
think I left it in the inn at the other city.
Oh no, my magic rope.
I use druidcraft to make it look like I've got gills. And I was like, I've got a rope. I can swim. I really can't, Din. It's okay. We'll go find a boat.
We probably need to get a boat.
I'm not sure what of my things I have, because we were at a party, and then we got on a horse and left.
I've got a new
Yeah.
idea for a beverage. If I'm going to go on a boat again, I'm going to need something pretty strong. Harbeck gets to work.
Something
Yeah,
that
so
gives
I-
you wings.
Nay,
Okay,
quite the
alright,
opposite.
So what's the plan here? What are we doing?
Well, we're first going to assess how much stuff we ended up leaving in Kanesh when we ran away hurriedly.
Yep.
And then we're gonna figure out if we have enough money to hire a boat. Some people to row us out to an island in the bay.
I have minus
Okay.
50 gold because I bought an apple.
Yes, this is very true. As adventurers, you're pretty good about making sure that you're ready to leave at a moment's notice.
Yeah, I assume that we
The-
carry most of our stuff with us, like always. But
Yeah. So in saying that, I imagine you managed to get away with most of your stuff. Yeah, no, I can't think of anything that wouldn't have been kept with the horses in the saddlebags or that you would have kept on your person. I think you pretty much got away with everything.
We didn't bring the saddlebags.
we didn't bring the saddles. I assume
you
that
brought
you
the
know
saddlebags?
you carry your. It was just sitting there. We just throw that over the horse and ride.
Yeah,
off.
saddlebags you
Scratch
can
it.
just slap over the top.
But with
So yeah, that would have worked.
how many times people fell off horses did the saddlebags also stay on?
You throw them back on every time you get back
Let
on.
him say it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
No, we'll assume that you managed to get away with all of your things.
We should quit trying to sabotage ourselves.
Probably not a bad
In
idea.
that case, I have a small bag of gems that is probably worth enough money to get some people to row us out to an island.
This is
Sounds
true.
good.
I don't actually know how much money I have, but I do have a bag of gems that's worth money.
Okay.
And on the way to
This is
the
like-
dock, I am going to restock my disguise kit.
All right.
This is like,
Anything else that? Yeah.
it's like a big port town, right? Finding some
Yeah.
people willing to row us out to the island shouldn't be difficult.
Yeah, heading down to the docks and sort of making inquiries about getting a small caravel or something to quickly sail you out or row you out to an island is probably not going to be that difficult.
You guys keep saying small and row.
Harvick's not impressed.
Okay.
Right side, Harbeck. We're rowing to an island. That means there's ground there.
Well,
Floating ground.
that's better than a shipwreck on the bottom of the ocean, but I might be visiting the bottom of the ocean anyway. I'm gonna need a moment in the brewery while you guys gather the rest of the supplies and make the arrangements. I'll meet you at the dock.
Harbeck, you're still looking a bit shaky from our flight. Should we perhaps wait until tomorrow?
Tabarin?
Actually, on that subject,
Yeah.
sorry, slightly out of character. Are we well rested? Like, how much rest did we get? Because I took a couple of heavy hitting arrows while fleeing elves.
I think we've had a long rest, but each long rest only does one level of exhaustion, and
I had two.
Harbeck had at least two. So
Yeah.
we should all
Yeah.
be fine, except for Harbeck still has one level of exhaustion.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
But my
everybody's
HP
managed to have a full
should
rest.
be
Full.
full. Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure.
It might
That
be
was
wise
right.
for me to restock my brewing supplies or my brews, my special drinks today. Spend some time in the brewery, and then wake up better rested tomorrow. That's a good idea. Do we have any reason to
Yeah.
believe we'd be in a hurry to get this done? I guess not. They invited us to stay for a couple of days in town. Doesn't seem like there's any rush.
As long as we're relatively certain the elves haven't managed to follow us here, then I think we're as safe as we ever have been.
I think there's no reason as long as none of us go out and about wandering the city.
I'm a pretty convincing dwarven woman. I don't think we were followed.
All right.
Tabarin,
Yes.
do you have anything that you could maybe give Harbeck so he just sleeps for a while?
Doesn't Harbeck have that?
Yeah,
Harbeck's working on making that today.
I could
Harbeck
assist
just
you
calls
in
that
making that.
booze.
Just anything
enough.
with alcohol. And
We're going to
nothing.
see how much
Enough of it,
fermentation
then
you
go to
can get done in 12 hours. We're going to go for the maximum.
So we're gonna try science?
Aye, lass.
Okay.
Would we assist with a medicine roll? Is that what we did last time?
Yes. So if you can roll a medicine, and Harvick can roll a brewmaster's tools check. Actually, are you trying to develop a new recipe, Harbeck, or are you...
Well, I think, I'm probably just making some really, really strong basic alcohol to get me through the boat ride.
You're trying to find that perfect
And then I
balance
want to
of
restock, like...
totally drunk for the boat ride, but well enough when we get there that you'll be able to fight.
Yeah, and I want to restock a couple of doses of the couple of things that I know how to make
Okay.
at the same time.
Sounds good. No roll.
Alright, so just roll me a brewmaster and a medicine check can accompany that. Which you do assist with. Okay, you create two doses of something.
Have we
Any of
named
the
that one?
recipes
Is
that
it the
you
one that
currently
exhausted me and I punched through the tree?
The brew of strength.
Yeah.
The Red Bull.
So two of those. Or just one of those and one of something else?
Okay, so... Do I know how to make the brew I found that extended my attack range, or was that...
No, that was a...
Yeah, I can't learn that recipe just by drinking it. So I'll just make
No.
2 of the strength brew.
Okay, 2 of those strength brews. Alrighty then. So, who was going out into the wide world to try and acquire shipping?
I will hand Tabarin this little bag of gems that has been in my...
I'm going with him. I'm good at buying things.
Kim wants to learn more about commerce.
She's great at... You'll notice that I'm handing Tabarin the money.
I'm just gonna go learn and help.
I am totally okay with you coming with me, Din, but we're gonna make you look a little different. Sound like fun?
Okay. Sure.
Alright.
Roll a disguise check.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone looks like a dwarven woman. That's the standard disguise.
Din
So
looks
Tavern
like
walks upstairs with
civilized
Din.
High society.
Yeah, Din walks upstairs with Tabron, and they retreat into Din's room for a while, and you hear much, "Hey, what are you doing? Stop doing that! What is that? Stop putting that on my face!" And about an hour and a half later, Tabron walks downstairs, followed by one of the most
long to brush my hair.
beautiful, blonde, pristine... She could be a princess.
Oh,
She looks
man,
absolutely
did you undo her
gorgeous.
dreads? That makes me a little sad.
No way. Can't have my
And
dress.
she looks completely awkward in her high society dress and all done up hair and so forth.
She's totally
um,
gonna trip down the stairs in these shoes.
You do notice that she's walking barefoot at the moment, just carrying her shoes.
There's only so much a disguise can change.
And that's enough. That's completely good for Tabarin.
And the wolf looks like a poodle.
I'm just imagining the wolf like in a handbag.
Like a little tiny push chihuahua. And we are both sulking equally as much.
Just giant
was not
handbag
fun
with
at
a
all.
wolf.
Oh dear.
Looks totally legit.
So, do you still want to come, Din?
Yes.
Alright.
This okay.
Is this all
Alright,
part of buying things? Because I didn't have to do this when I bought the apple.
So, for this lesson, I just want you to watch and see what you learn, and when we get back to the inn, we'll talk about everything.
Okay.
Okay, so you head out and head down to the docks. Tabron, how are you going to go about trying to locate a ship's captain, or a boat for sale, or what exactly are you looking for?
I think I would just go to the, I don't know what you would call a mariner's office. Like, do they have some sort of...
Yeah, you could go to the customs office, where imports and exports are controlled, and speak to the harbour master for all ship traffic into the area.
And just let him know, hey, we're looking to just head out on the open bay for a few days. A friend and I here, we've got a few others that'll be joining us. Just looking to head out, enjoy a few days. Do you have a boat available, or know someone that we could get in touch with?
What sort of boat are you looking for? A dinghy?
No, we need something with sails, something that's going to help us move a little better than arm strength. I mean, we folks aren't well accustomed to hard work, as it were.
Okay. You looking for a crewed ship or an uncrewed ship?
Harbeck's so glad he can't hear this right now.
Yeah. Who's gonna sail that ship?
There's a man.
Perhaps a guide to bring us along. Don't need a whole crew.
There's a man. He goes by the name of Jonathan. You'll find him down at the Salted Crab. Is a inn down the other end of the docks. If you head down there, have a chat to him. I'm pretty sure he's been renting his caravel out to people for the right price, of course. Normally he likes to go along on the ship himself, but for the right price, he might allow you to make use of it.
I might let him come along. Could be helpful. I head down to I thank him and head out to the Salted Crab. As we head that direction, I'll just talk to Din. So just ask her what her thoughts are. If she has any questions.
So far, you just asked for the thing that you want.
Pretty much. We're not quite
can
to
do
that
that.
trade part. Yeah.
Okay, so you head down to the Salted Crab. It doesn't look like the most reputable of inns, but it's reasonably busy. Plenty of sailors drinking, womanizing, carrying on as sailors tend to do. When you walk into the inn, you do notice that there's a man sort of sitting in a table. He's clearly a captain. You can separate the regular sails from the ship owners fairly easily. And there only seems to be one ship owner in the actual place at the moment. He's sitting down at a table. He's drinking and playing a game of chance with a bunch of sailors who seem to be losing quite effortlessly. They're just constantly losing. You're guessing that from your experience in the world of the con, he might be pulling the wool over their eyes somewhat. Although from this sort of range you can't tell exactly.
Right.
So what are you going to do?
Just head over to the table where he's at and just ask him, hey, are you John?
Aye, that's me.
Ah, you're more handsome than they said you'd be.
Flattery won't get you anywhere, boy. What do you want?
I'm sure it won't get us very far, but we're looking to head out on a adventure into the bay for a few days. Was wondering if we could ask for your assistance. I hear you have a boat.
Aye. She's a beaut, too. But an adventure, you said? I don't go in for that.
What's that?
I don't go in for that. I'm not interested in danger. I run pleasure cruises.
That's what we seek. Me and this fine lady here, a few friends of ours, go
I'm
out.
looking around to find the fine lady.
She is fine. Okay, well, money talks. How long do you want it for?
Oh, how far is, out of character, how far is that island?
Honestly, if you just sailed there and back, you'd probably make it in a day.
Well, maybe a day and a half, 2 tops.
So quite a short trip. When did you want it?
Tomorrow morning, if we could.
Tomorrow morning? These things take time. I can see
I'm
if I
sure
can
there's-
assemble my crew. And maybe we can leave in a few days. If
Let's
the
just
price
go
is
get a
right.
different boat.
Again, I understand the concern. I know that it's quick, and he has a the bag and kind of jingles it around. I'm sure there's another captain in the area that might be more interested. I turn to go look for someone else, see what his reaction is.
Lad, wait. Just wait a second. It's not a matter of money. It's a matter of time. It takes time to assemble a crew. All my lads are on shore leave at the moment. Half of them wouldn't even be ship-worthy for a week. I need more time than you've given me.
Okay, so is this a much larger ship than I'm thinking in my head? That it needs a full crew, or is it something that could be managed with a few people?
It's only a few people, but they've got to be people you trust. People who can sail the seas. Do you not remember the storm that happened a few weeks ago?
Oh, I remember the storm.
If you
remember-
don't have a crew you trust, then, you know, when the wind starts blowing, the lightning's flashing, what do you do?
Put your head between your knees and pray?
Or throw up. That's what Harbeck did.
You leave the captain counting the collateral.
If it's all the same to you, I'd rather not lose my ship in a storm because of inexperienced sailors.
I can see that.
Is there a storm coming tomorrow?
Tell you what are you willing to pay?
What's your going rate?
I'll do the trip for 100 gold pieces, but you need to lay down 1,000 in collateral for the boat. If something happens out there and I don't have my regular crew, and she goes down, I want to be paid in full.
That's like a whole bushel of apples.
How can I know and trust that giving you a 1,000 down deposit isn't just going to be taken away from me?
You can't, but you also want a ship on 1 day's notice.
How much is a ship?
Depends on the ship.
This is out of character. Like if
It really does depend on the ship.
depends on the ship. Like if I had
depends on-
1,000 gold, what?
For 1,000 gold, you could buy a ship. A small one.
Harbeck is not donating to purchase a watery death trap. That's
I'm not
you guys can
looking
go
to
ahead
buy
and go
one
in on
either.
that, but Harbeck will not be participating.
Tell you what. I don't know that I've got 1,000 gold pieces for you. 100 I
think
could
you've got-
probably do for the travel.
I don't think you've got any gold pieces in that there bag that you were jingling at me.
No? I pull out a few. I'm not going to know how much they're worth, so I'm going to see as I pull one out and appraise it. What do I need to roll for that?
Yeah,
That's a really good question.
yeah. All I have written down is small bag of gems. I have no idea if it could be worth like 4 gold. That turns
I
out
don't-
they're just.
I
They're
don't
just
think you
pretty
appraise
cool.
it at all. I think you
I've
roll
got
persuasion
at
and you
least
tell him
enough-
what it's worth.
Pretty pieces of glass.
Experience in conning that I should have a good
I
idea
guess-
what it's worth.
I guess investigation would probably be like you can sort of look at the gems and determine whether they're real and whether they'd be worth anything.
How close are we to a good moment to take a break to end this YouTube video and start the next one?
Depends on how long it takes Tabron to convince the captain to give him a boat. I don't know. I don't know. We can just take a break now if you want.
Right, I think that's what we'll do. I'll rather than roleplay. Well, I'm not sure how to roleplay the whole thing out. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Give me time to think about it.
Okay, works for me. So let's take a short break and...
All right. So if you're watching on YouTube, then in the next video, we'll see if Tabrin can get